So we just got word from our sideline reporter, Christian K, that pairings have been confirmed and they are still playing. Evan Berofsky and Benji are still playing. So I'm guessing Evan is still going first, and I think it makes sense for him to keep the same letters, but we will see if we start over again, truly. And it looks like Benji drew tiles. Okay, so Evan is keeping the same tiles. And so we are back, people, and this will be a good game. Let's do it.
Benji's 7th tile. There it is. Okay. Oh, gem. That's interesting. A little bit shorter, lower scoring, but maybe the leave is a little better. I'm not sure it's so much better that I would opt to go short, but it's certainly a valid idea. Do you like gem better than the 5-letter plays, Morris?
It's interesting. That's the sort of play I would make. It looks pretty reasonable, honestly. It really ability to open the left side of the board, and so if you're nervous at all with that against Benji, I could see the value of it. So I approve. A blank, so blank guesses are over, people.
That's it. But most people got their guesses in. So we'll see. See, I think it makes it fun. We already enjoy seeing when a player draws a blank, but now it's extra fun for the chatters when you have a little something riding on it. So let's see. For Benji, he's got just the one vowel. He'll probably use it.
So normally, right, playing something like merge, you can normally score a fair amount with these sorts of letters. But Benji, with the short opening, elects to also not score a ton, kind of just keeping his good letters and making this game a bit more of a slog type of game.
Yeah, I think I don't mind that. His other option there might have simply been to just play Fog on top of Gem, leaving a very consonant-heavy leave, but one that if he were to have pulled any kind of vowels, it would be very synergistic, right? If he played Fog, he would have left DHRS. That's certainly a risk, keeping 4 consonants, but even 2 vowels would be really good. Not only do you bingo a lot with that, you score well when you do. But that being said, I have no problem with forged because it's definitely safer just to keep HS. Your leaves are not going to be quite as likely to be 7 consonants.
And Alec points out that Benji drew into a natural Shahid.
That is quite nice, yeah. So it looks like Benji is probably bingoing, and that's good for him because Evan is definitely bingoing somewhere. He's got a lot of different stuff. So his highest scoring bingo is, it looks like, co-derive through the D of forged.
That's really pretty. Yeah, I was looking and I couldn't see anything that didn't open the triple right away, but that one does not open the triple. So not only is it the highest scoring, but it might be the most defensive.
Oh, it's absolutely the most defensive. If he were to pick another bingo that doesn't open the triple, he could do Encierro. That's a Collins only word through the R forged, but that would be a 9-point sacrifice. So Evan, being the blank bingo ace that he is very good at them. I struggle to beat him in Collins blank bingos. I give him a good shot to see co-derive through the D.
Yeah, I mean, it's slightly tricky though because I've mentally like just skipped past those sorts of spots before. It's definitely seeing all those tiles you have to overlap, even though it's just two-letter words. Just be a bit lazy. So hopefully Evan will not, but it wouldn't necessarily be that shocking if he missed it. So I guess is there any other contender besides Co-Derive here that you're seeing, Will?
So it looks like he will play Enciero, which that is the best bingo for not opening a triple. I would imagine that, as you noted, Morris, you probably didn't give the D as long of a look as you might because, for example, ED doesn't go down there. It's like a weird fit to even think about playing the rack that Evan had through the D. So that would have been, he would have had to really be careful to find that. And it looks like Benji is popping his bingo down instantly. Nice job to him.
Good job, Benji. And so this is now going to be a game. I guess Benji will be slightly up, but Evan will have tempo. Yeah, someone pointed out that if Evan did play Co-Derive, Shahid and Co-Derives would have been a ton of points. So
very true.
Scrabble's one of these weird games where sometimes the play that you're like, man, if only I saw that, well, it could have worked out a lot worse.
But wouldn't you know it, that usually the play that scores the most and is most defensive and stuff like that, usually it works out better, but not every time, which is the infuriating thing sometimes. But it's also kind of charming. Okay, not a great. All right, a tale of two post bingo draws here. Not so good.
Benji's pissed though.
Very good. I see what you did there.
All right, I couldn't help myself.
And yeah, he should probably have somewhere to play. Certainly, if Evan plays parallel to Shahid, which I certainly would strongly consider, then he'll have an easy place to play. Benji will have an easy place to play his bingos, but
Shahid takes an S, correct?
It does, yeah. There's no shortage of other stuff, including double-double of linkiest. So I'm pretty sure Benji knows that linky, one of those many words in TWL that compares in CSW. I would think he knows that for sure.
That gives the suggestion Woose, W-O-S-E, which is a Colin, and Shahid's. It looks like Evan actually elects for Iwis. I actually like that. I think that seems pretty reasonable to get rid of both those I's.
But what about in Collins? You can leave off the S, and Iwi is still a word that would have played parallel to Shahid for just 4 fewer points, leaving the S. I think that seems like a much higher upside move than burning it. Such a huge hook, S hook. To keep it for it must be worth significantly more than the 4 points that you save. Or rather, the 4 points that you lose, I should say. That being said, it's not going to change too much for Benji. He will be bingoing here, presumably for a lot of points.
And right, if he missed Linkius somehow or doubts its validity, Nest-like plays as well, with the K doubled on a double letter score.
And if he were to miss that as well, he can now play his 7s on top of Iwis. So let's see what he does. Certainly, the points of linkiest just make it clearly correct. So we hope he thinks of it. Okay, he probably just wasn't 100% sure of the validity of the other words, not wanting to risk getting them challenged off. He plays the word that he's 100% sure of. That is a drop off of about 20 points. But he does take a pretty good sized lead. We'll see if he wishes he had those points later.
And interestingly, that doesn't allow for loosened at all, which nest like, oh no, would have been one spot too low. Never mind. But in a lot of scenarios, not floating that S helps Benji. I don't think Evan has another bingo option, right?
No, I don't think so. You think of a bingo with an M, S. Uh, certainly nothing that I see actually playing here. So
I don't see anything either.
Evan is down, but not by an insurmountable amount. Benji, oh, he has, I think he at least has a bingo through the F of Trainful, right? And then he might have more stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
That could be trouble for Evan. I don't really see how he's going to block that F. Yeah, something like Olio looks like a really good play for Evan. And that's going to leave another bingo for Benji that I'm quite sure he will play. Well, I'm quite sure he'll see it, but he did just pass up nest like. So trainful is kind of that same type of word. Oh, never mind. I'm sorry. I'm reading the rack wrong. I got Benji'd.
Oh, yeah, yeah. There's two L's. Sorry, people.
Does that mean?
I don't think there's any bingos. Yeah, that definitely changes the analysis here.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry, everybody that read the rack correctly. I was thinking, what the heck is he talking about? Yeah. Okay. He's going to play urinal and Hoa and L. That looks really good.
Yeah, and now Evan looks like he has some nice bingo letters.
Yes, he has a Collins bingo to the F, and he has, I think, a TWL bingo to the C.
That is TWL.
And interesting call. They score about the same. Frerdane puts the E in the triple lane. D-Racine does not put too much of anything out in a couple good scoring spots, but nothing quite as potentially damaging as an E in a triple lane. Do you think you would still play Frerdane, or would you go for D-Racine?
I think I might do D-Racine, especially because Benji just played 6 tiles, so it's not like he's getting close to a bingo. You do have to think a bit about it because, as you'll see now, as Evan puts down D-Racine, that it creates a really nice sevens lane. But if you're drawing 6 new tiles, that probably means Benji isn't necessarily that close to bingos. Whereas for Dane, it's much more likely you draw like 1 high point tile, and you're giving them a good spot. So I like this move. I'm a fan.
I think I am as well. I think it's really not worth 2 points to put a letter that basically it makes bingos hit harder, it makes scoring plays hit harder. It's just not enough extra points. Okay, so Benji, I'm going to pay extra close attention. So I thought to play Vuln to the end of D-Racine. I'd like to see him use a T here if he could. Is there any way that he can? I guess he could 12. Just play.
He could play 12 through the E in D-Racine.
That's interesting. Gets a lot of letters off from this clunky.
And there's a nice Collins suggestion of To It.
To It. That looks pretty good.
I think I still might prefer 12 there, though. I could be, maybe it's I just don't like the V's, but.
Well, you're certainly right not to like V's and V's with U's. LUV. Not so hot. Definitely want to get rid of at least one of the V or the U. He does play Vuln. Okay, so he gets rid of them both and pays the cost of keeping both T's, which that might be the lesser evil. Yeah, a couple different ways he could have gone there. I don't really have a super strong opinion about that. The other nice thing about Voln is if he feels like he's a bit of an underdog, that V is never getting blocked, so he can just let it sit and maybe get a bingo some point from there.
Yeah, that's a really good point, and we'll sort of see. So that bottom left quadrant of the board.
That's not true. I mean, it can get blocked. I should say plays through Lentisk, something to the S of Lentisk. That could do
right.
it.
So, but we're gonna see that bottom left portion of the board. That could be a key part towards the end of the game if one person needs to bingo. Because if you look, I think there are right now four different spots after Evan's play that 7 letters could fit.
So
Being
Benji just
Voln,
drew bingo. I predict he will know this. I think this is a TWL word. I think he should know this one.
I would not be sure of Wattist at all.
Wattist, yeah. I think he should know this. I expect him to find it and play it alongside Urinal.
I would not be sure of this at all. I would have to think for about 5 minutes if I'm making up Wattist or not. It's the kind of word that, like, I've seen it before, but I could also think I'm just being wishful here.
Ooh. Okay. No Wattist for Benji. Obviously, it's not the worst thing in the world to make a play that scores okay and leaves state, but we would have liked to see Wattist go down there.
Definitely. It's we'll see. It's definitely a play that, looking back after a game, you might have thought you played the game perfectly, and then you go to Quackle after, and you're like, "Oh, well, I missed Wattist." So
a very rude
that kind of
awakening.
ended the game for me. What would you do here if you were Evans? Or Evan, sorry, not Evans.
If I was Evans Berofsky.
Evans Berofsky, yes.
Suggestion for mazing, which I really don't like with the A hook out. I think you can avoid mazing by just playing oozing through the O of forged, and that's significantly better defense with the similar score. So I don't want to play mazing.
Oozing is also good in Collins, right?
Mosing, sure, you could do mosing. Phasing, that is a don't know about that. I feel like you just left some equity on the table there. So that scores 38, leaving MO. He could have scored 45, leaving AM.
Although that is a much more defensive approach, what Evan is doing, and that gives him a 48-point lead on a board that's now starting to at the top right portion of the board.
Well, oozing is pretty. If you want to cut off that urinal lane, oozing also does do that.
That's fair. That is definitely fair.
So it has similar defensive properties, scores a lot more, and leaves a better vowel. So it's a big combo of better attributes. But still a lot of, there's definitely a lot of good things going for phasing. It just happened that there were better options. So Benji had his leave of state, and he drew the X, which, given that he wants to bingo, that's not exactly what he wants to see. Yes, great point. I would love to have more of these New Orleans competitors show up to Atlantic City. I couldn't go to this tournament, but I'm feeling very jazzed to play next weekend. So anyone on the fence, please come out. I want to get some Collins games under my belt. Anyway, Benji, what should he do?
There's a suggestion from the chat to do text, TEX, making hoax, NE, and it.
That looks good.
That would be 30 points, and so Benji's right now down by 48, so an 18-point deficit after that would leave him in pretty good shape, especially with the bingo tiles he'd sort of leave.
Yeah, I just worry that
Looks like, though, he's setting up next for 3 fewer points and being a lot more aggressive if he does that.
Yeah.
He does.
It's quite aggressive. You basically know after that play that an enormous amount of the time Evan is going to play to that spot. On the other hand, maybe that's what you need so that he doesn't play to one of the few other spots of the board that are still open. I don't know. That's a tough one. He's definitely going to play. Yeah, potty looks totally fine. Wow, interesting. I might have waited. The score is not so far out of reach after Benji's play. I mean, you see now it's 330 to 267, but it wouldn't have been quite as bad had Benji played a little more carefully there. I don't know. That's tough. I mean, you want to create more threats, of course.
Yeah, I think it was probably a bit too much, a bit too soon. But it's definitely
I get
just
the
a mistake.
logic.
Yeah, and people are pointing out that basically all of Benji's 8s with letters on the board don't quite fit the fitting. But like
Yeah, it's a big
botanies,
troll
botanized,
job.
obiscent, none of those play. Obviates doesn't fit, so
It's quite the
it's
troll.
definitely quite the position for Benji.
Yeah, he really needs more space. He needs it in a hurry. He's got his lanes in Lentisk, which are just very difficult to hit, especially as a natural. He has his Voln V.
And the U in Voln.
And the Voln U, and he has the D of Deracine. So I wonder, can he play parallel to phasing in a way that opens anything? It doesn't look...
He could do Biz. He could also do Boa, making 3 2-letter words off the ING in phasing.
He plays oboe instead. He might be doing that because he's gunning for the V of Voln, obviously with a backup of the D of Deracine. But given that those are 2 consonants, he might think it's okay to leave a vowel heavy leave. It seems reasonable. It's hard to make that much more space, unfortunately.
This isn't. This is the kind of board that Benji needs to cash in on very quickly, because it could get muddied up in a hurry. And you can sort of see that by, if you just look at the number of spots where you can actually fit 7 letters, right? Where are there places where I could literally put 7 tiles or through 1 tile? There really aren't that many left.
Yeah, just look what he hit, though. So he has vitiates and acidiest from the D and the V. So he got the perfect draw that bingos in 2 spots, no matter what Evan does. So that is great from a spectator standpoint, because it's going to make for a very interesting pre-end game coming up.
Sure. And if you're Evan, 30-ish point play this turn and be up basically a bingo. Right? So if you do something like Mayo, parallel to Deracine, making AD, YE, and OR, that'll be 33 points, and your lead would then be extended to, I guess that's 75 points. So it will basically be a tempo game after the 30-ish point play and then the 80-ish point bingo.
Oh, look at that. He sussed out that I really want to prevent a V bingo and block. Well, at least he gets the T. So he blocks the V and U of Voln, maybe a little bit the L, and the T of Lentisk. So Benji definitely would have preferred vitiates, but he'll be okay with this. Acidiest. I guess this is kind of it's still not a good situation. That was a pretty good play by Evan of paying him, because now the bingo from the D, basically, if Evan can just block the final letters of Acidiest with a good scoring play, he should be able to maintain scoring advantage over Benji unless he really hits something hard.
Well, I mean, let's actually think about this though, because there's now going to be Benji's going to draw 3 tiles only. So even though I like the idea of
well,
paying
Evan's
him,
going to draw 3 only.
I think Evan will finish his rack, and then Benji will draw the last 3 tiles in the bag.
Oh, I gotcha. Okay, fair enough. Yeah, definitely.
So from Evan's perspective there, it looks really good at first glance, but I need to actually think about if probable that Benji's going to hit the D anyways. You actually outrun. Oh wait, maybe I miss. Oh well, you know what? Sorry, there are now 3 in the bag, so never mind. I was off by 7 tiles in my head. I double counted.
Wow. Oh, by the
There's-
way, I forgot to announce that we had S. Kirkman correctly guess the N for Enciero on the board for 1 point there. Kirkham, sorry, I apologize. So now we got a second blank to sweat here, and oh yeah, look what everybody's pointed out. So Evan is going to have a brutal decision on his hands here. Do I block the triple that one or the other triple that Benji just opened with Acidiest, or do I think that I need to block the P of Paynim because Benji has Quip plays in that spot, and he does have Quipu there for a
I think
humongous.
Quipu is the only one that can play there. If you look at the unseen tiles from Evan's perspective, on the top right portion of our stream.
Quippo also, Colin.
I forget these things.
So that actually, ironically, the fact that Quippo is also good is going to lead Evan to be more eager to block that
people
spot.
are pointing out as well. Quaps is also a valid Colin.
Okay, well, it's the same rack that would lead to that. So it's just the same permutation. But yeah, two different sets, QUO blank and QUU blank. That's tough. Especially because he also now has to worry about what if Benji missed the Q. And so
I think though, if you're drawing the Q, you're basically always losing, right? Because there are multiple QI spots for 11, but you just won't have enough. A potential way for him to draw the Q here and still win. Because the point is, if there is no way to do that, then Evan has to work under the operating assumption that Benji has the Q. Anyway, drawing the Q, you just don't go through those scenarios.
Yeah, this is a brutal spot. Wow. Yeah. It's definitely, as has been pointed out, there's plenty of bingos that fit up high. I just wonder, it feels likelier that Benji drew QUU blank and QUO blank than specifically, he could have.
But I think, and Matthew O'Connor's also pointing this out, that if Benji has a bingo anyways, you're going to lose, right? The Q will be in the bag.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
True.
So I think you have to work under the assumption here, if you're trying to maximize your winning chances.
You can't win those games.
You can't win those games anyways.
The Q games. Yeah, you have to win the Q games, and that by that token, you need to block. So what would be his block then? Just something like OAF? OAF? No, that leaves Quaps still.
Play OAF. Oh no, that's not a word in any dictionary. He could do nope, that's not a word. He could do Fado below Paynim. FADO, making D and YO.
Yeah, that looks okay.
Someone else points
Wow.
out Vane, which wouldn't give any two-letter words, right? VANE in the same spot.
Good job, Evan.
Yeah, and so he's. It looks like, and
I'm
so
very impressed by that. That's not an easy decision to make to go down there.
yeah, and the logic is right for the viewers, and this is a really good lesson to learn. You could see some of the bad ways in which you can lose, right? Getting Q stuck or something. But if you're going to lose those games anyways, you just don't worry about them. You need to think about the games where you could still. So that was sort of what Evan did, and he did it even more smartly than we did because he left a tile in the bag. So there still leaves uncertainty for Benji. Whereas if he emptied the bag, Benji would have had perfect information, and if there is a win, he would be much more able to find it right away.
Yeah, that was a tricky one. I think Evan's play was fine, but we're discussing what are the merits of emptying the bag or not, and I do think it was probably okay for Evan to empty there. Um, I just worry now that Evan's not going to have. I guess he'll have outs and two with this if Benji does. So yeah, it's tough. I don't know.
So I
What do you think about that?
It's interesting, I guess. I mean, I see Adobo making at, and it gives two VN spots. But I guess Benji, he is getting a lot of points here. Will he be able to go out? What letter was in the bag?
It was an A, so he's getting an A.
Oh, so he will have outs. Yeah, he has Aura in the top left. Yeah, maybe he does empty and just hopes he can.
Yeah, rat two to the T
sure.
of court. So it looks like, oh wow, is that enough? That's brutal. Good play, Benji. I think that might put him over the line if he has Ratu and something else that scores anything.
Yeah, that was. Maybe I shouldn't have spoken so fast that not emptying there is automatically right. You could definitely be right, Will, that
Can he even block
bag.
Rat 2? Can he even block Rat 2 with anything? I see Batoon that leaves DV. That's probably not good.
I think Adobo might be the best still.
Oh. Hey. He has, with his URA, he has Wait, he has Ernal to the N of Encierro.
Oh my God, what an insertion. Wow.
17.
Status right there.
Okay, I didn't see that. That was a Quackle special. Can't claim credit for that one. But boy, if he were to spot that, it's basically game over. He's got Ratu and Ernal. Oh, wow. Yeah, you have to block Ratu and think he's not going to see that. If you're Evan,
I think Aura still wins after Batoon.
yeah, I don't think. Yeah, he's going to still have DV. That's just too much. Wow. Benji is about to Benji one out. Wait a second. Morris, didn't he do this last year too? Wasn't he was playing Jack Norman?
Benji
He
is
just Benji'd it
notoriously
out.
good.
He just Benji's it out every time.
Good on the stream. Not only that, I remember he bingoed out against Carl Johnson in one game to win.
So Adobo scores nicely, but it still loses pretty decisively to Ratu.
So it really goes back to I wonder if
yeah, Evan knows it. I think Evan knows he's in trouble. He's just shook his head. So what, I mean, just for the sake of debate, what happens if he does play Fado down there instead? I mean, that's not that different a score, I suppose.
That empties the bag, you're saying? Eve. So I
So,
think Benji would still probably do court, right? That's a ton of points. Keeping UR, I'm assuming there's multiple spots for that.
hmm.
Right, so court. Although Quackle's saying that, oh, but Evan has above then for too many points and he'd win off of, and make at off of the team.
Oh, interesting. Above,
So,
yeah.
so
So
Fado at least.
court still goes down for Benji. Above goes down for 39, and plus Benji's out is significantly lower scoring.
Maybe Fado was correct, although tough to say based on this one example, but seems like, wow, that's really interesting. I guess the logic is the queue, there's going to be a lot of high point tiles left, right? There's the F, the B, the V, the D. And it maybe just makes more sense to get rid of more of them right away so that you give yourself an opportunity to not be stuck with multiple of them at the end.
Yeah, also good point that Fado sets up a nice V play under there. So Evan basically playing Vanda, and it's not a gimme. Rat 2 is a Collins 4, but Benji knows it and plays it instantly. Wow.
There was a story that Benji once played 2 phony turns on back-to-back turns in a game against Evans Clinchy and lost as a result.
In a situation like this, like he would have
Something
won.
like that.
Oh.
Yeah, I think something like.
Well,
So
not this time.
good on Benji for not this time. He's passed behind him and he's eked out the win here.
And that's
very nice win.
As I mentioned. Oh, so wait a second. There was a blank of an A designation. We've got a ton more points. I'll deal with that in just a minute. But yeah, the rest of the Collins division, very happy to see that Benji narrowed the gap a little. There's more people that are going to have a chance to win, including Benji himself, in fact. So, boy, there's going to be no shortage of very interesting, important games in round 20. Very excited to see what we'll get.
And it looks like in TWL, there are right now 4 14-5s.
Wow. So we assume that Rafi is one of them and he's in first, huh?
Rafi is in first, 14-5 plus 1688. Josh Sokol's in second with over 600 spread points behind. And Jackson are within 150 spread points of Josh. So it could be that. So we'll see how the pairings sort of shake out there. Rafi and Josh might play each other, but it might be that they give Joey and Jackson some opportunity to play both of them too.
Yeah, a lot of people will have a case to play Rafi just because by beating him, having the same number of wins, they'll go ahead of him. So, very exciting.
Very, very exciting. I mean, Collins, we're still waiting sort of on because of the sort of pairings thing. It's going to take a bit longer, right? They were redoing the pairings in Collins as we saw at the beginning of this round. So we'll wait on that a bit. But we don't know when we'll be back. We're going to have to wait for the final pairings to come up, which is a bit of time. But we should be back shortly. It would be good for the viewers to give them sort of the live standings that we've been doing at the end of these rounds. So maybe we can show either the Collins or TWL live standings in the meantime while we sort of wait, but we'll be back in probably 10.
And just a quick update, a lot of people correctly guessing the blank designation of A, including, yet again, Lord Livgun, up to 3 points with no one else having more than 1. Alex Eholm also guessing an A, as did Zooglia and Matt Bernardino. So a lot of people on the board. We haven't seen any NOLA words. That would be a big decider. At least I don't think we did. Did we? Nope. So it may be that a bunch of you guys are going to have to guess a power tile in the final game and hope that somebody goes way off the reservation to designate a Z or a J or something. Yeah.
So we'll be back in like 10 minutes for the final game, Crescent City Cup. We actually are not sure yet which one. Stick around, and we will. And we aren't sure yet if it's going to be TWL or Collins yet, but we're going to figure that out right now. So keep talking with everyone. We're loving this Twitch stream. We're loving this chat. Keep it up. We'll be back in a few.